This video has been a long time coming, and I think I've already thought about other talking points for the future about the treatment of Rocket League by Psyonix, who, by the way, is now owned by Epic Games, and the prize pool. The monetary difference when it comes time for Fortnite and Rocket League is so drastic. We now have 13 Rocket League organizations sending an open letter to Psyonix, stressing their frustration with the current monetary system for how they can actually make revenue by holding an RLCS spot, and with that spot belonging to the players, how they feel quite vulnerable given the current league circumstances. And why I said long time coming, I touched on this many months ago with the open letter that went viral on Reddit to Psyonix about the tournament structure and of course the qualifier structure, and as it being a pro player, the limited time events when it comes time for outside of rival series or championship series. This has been a long time coming, and amidst all of those 13 teams who have now pretty much called out Psyonix for a response for a lack of communication on several issues, G2, NRG, Mouse Sports, Vitality. We also have Veloce on the team Endpoint, Space Station, Rogue, amidst many other teams who have now called out Psyonix for a variety of issues, and hopefully a response is coming down the pipeline, as they've stressed a lack of communication overall from Psyonix to the teams out there, and poor conditions surrounding the team ownership when it comes time for the slot inside the RLCS or Rocket League Championship Series, prize money distribution, and monetization and revenue streams stemming from the league. The biggest point of concern being, first off, the league slots belonging to the players and thus not offering much stability for the organizations, while the players hold the spot and the org is still required to facilitate, of course, and paying for everything else around their players. There's not much stability if you own the slot. You're paying for everything around the players, coordinating everything financially for them. Meanwhile, if those players, once the contracts are up, or if the contracts aren't very long term, they can leave, once those are done. And of course, the organization who had to deal with all of that and pay for all of that, they're left with nothing. And the second point of concern being the lack of monetization, which is definitely across a lot of esports has to be a concern. Apparently, the reported split for a lot of these organizations being a 90-10 split. That being 10% to the org, 90% to the players. I think I don't know if there's a standard out there. We've seen 75-25. We've seen 80-20 around those remarks as well. When it comes time for the players owning the spot, getting salaries, getting far majority of the prize pool, and then when it comes to the esports shop for items, I'm not sure on those revenue streams, but also a lack of communication has been reported on that. If you guys are unaware of the esports shop and the item shop when it comes to Rocket League, you have to be in the RLCS for at least one season or 1 year to get into the shop, and if you're correlated or actually facilitated with a football club, you can't even get in the item shop, it seems, for a lot of those teams out there as well. So that lack of revenue, that lack of monetization, which we have seen teams benefit from in a top tier esport like League of Legends, as we see those organizations slowly, trying to reap the rewards over there. And of course, League of Legends for those franchise models are trying to pay out and to make them more profitable as well when it comes time for being the most watched and successful esport. And so can that be transitioned over to Rocket League now as 13 organizations and teams are complaining about it? I really do hope so. And it definitely does put a different spin on things that we maybe not have thought about before, as when it comes time for owning a Rocket League team right now, it is not profitable, and the future can be concerning for a lot of teams, especially given the fragility of it all. And I'm not really sure if I could make the debate whether or not the organizations or the players should hold the spots to leagues. When it comes, at least for a Counter-Strike root, guys, most leagues out there, the players do hold the spot as well. Of course, when it comes time for Rocket League, though, there are not many other events or leagues at all put on besides RLCS. That is the main one by far. When it goes to Counter-Strike, there are so many different events and leagues as well. So definitely a bit of a different debate to go on to that. But certainly, when you have 13 teams now complaining to Psyonix, and I would stress this most of everything, when you have Epic Games taking care and very much a very good care of the monetary system when it comes time for prize pools and funding of Fortnite, you would hope that money, especially with a company that is now apparently valued around $15 billion, they're trying to raise funding as well, you would hope some of that would trickle down to their new acquirement being Rocket League and Psyonix Studios. So maybe there's not a simple solution out there, but certainly you guys can understand why these organizations would be upset, and we'll see if Psyonix does actually respond about all of this. Rocket League definitely has the potential for standing power in the esports scene. A lot of us can agree on that. We have seen the viewership they pull, especially when it comes to RLCS. It's only grown over the past couple of years, and yes, the COVID outbreak is so poorly timed with an esport that was only growing and definitely has potential potential to be a top tier of esports out there. We will see how Psyonix does and responds to actually these organizations facing a large chunk of money being lost on these teams, and of course fragility when it comes time for long-term ownership. You would maybe understand why other organizations see this and become hesitant of wanting their own Rocket League teams as well, which overall long-term will hinder the esport greatly. How will Psyonix respond, guys? A great piece I will link down below for all of you guys. 13 teams. A bit frustrated with how Rocket League is running things. Until next time, though, drink your water, drink your coffee. I'll see you guys back here sometime soon.